Jensen, good to see you. It's good to have baseball once again back, as we know some baseball happening today. With regards to Cleveland specifically, Shane Bieber and Triston McKenzie. It wasn't that long ago. There's a lot of hype and expectations around these guys. How critical is health for both those players in 2024?
Yeah, Adnan, great to be with you. And I think those are the two focal points, right, in this rotation, with both of them having to go through elbow injuries last year. It seems that this offseason was really good for both of them individually in their recovery and also in their preparation. I know there's some videos out there of Bieber with some increased velocity, which is great news. But as you guys well know, it's all about when you get into the live competition. And most importantly, when we get in the regular season, just a couple of years removed, fellas, from Bieber, McKenzie, and the now departed Cal Quantrill from having 30-plus starts, which really led them to the postseason and an opportunity to get to the ALCS. So I think if they're going anywhere this year from a pitching standpoint, paramount for both those guys to stay healthy the entirety of the season.
Jensen, the beginning of a new era without Terry Francona being there. What's kind of that vibe been so far? Because, look, I think we probably can all be in agreement. Terry Francona, one of the game's best. I think the players all played for him and everything else, but we've got to start a different way now and do some things probably a little bit differently moving forward with Cleveland.
Yeah, Billy, and great to have Stephen Vogt in here for year one. And I think the biggest narrative going in, guys, is it's the speed of the game from the managerial standpoint, and him literally doing it the first time in his professional career at the major league level. What does that look like? What are the in-game scenarios in which does he make a mistake early on? Does the game get too fast for him in the first couple of weeks? I think that's what I'll be paying attention to most importantly. Tito was such a mastermind, and some of our other guys that have been through this 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and then in the decades of it. I think for Voter, though, he's surrounded by such a great staff. You know, he's already talked about how Carl Willis has been such a huge, huge relief for him, being able to handle the pitchers and the entirety of that staff on his own. So I'm anxious to see in game, how does he maneuver, lineup construction day in and day out? What are the matchups he likes on the hitting side? And ultimately, this is a division, as you guys well know. It's not going to take you 100 wins to get to the postseason, but most importantly, we know managerial prowess is huge in perhaps 4 or 5 wins that could be the difference between a playoff scenario and going home.
What did you think about the Stephen Vogt coming in from the outside? Because you mentioned some of the staff that's already there, and I think that's important and going to be very helpful. But do you get a sense that maybe something coming in from the outside, a different view? Do you get a sense of his style that he might bring to the table so far? But I do think what you said, having somebody there that you can rely on that's been on the inside is very important.
Yeah, Billy, I'll take it a step further and probably more the youth movement here and really a guy that just stepped off the field just a couple of years ago. I think the relatability in conjunction with how young Cleveland's roster still will be, not only this year, but for the foreseeable future. So there's an art to the communication in our day and age, right? We obviously have the analytic portion, but also the eye test of saying, hey, I was just there a couple years ago. I know what we need to do. I know the adjustments that we can make. And as you guys know, having a catcher as a manager, for whatever reason, it makes the most sense from being able to handle both sides of the game. So I think the relatability part was a huge difference maker for him, with the Cleveland front office making him the selection.
I just think of Stephen Vogt and that final at bat. I mean, that's the dreams are made of. That home run, high stepping around the bases, Benny Benassi playing, it was great. Speaking of catchers, I love Bo Naylor, repping Canada, the pride of Mississauga, Ontario. You think he's a top 10 catcher in the game right now?
Yeah, first of all, happy birthday, Bo. And it's going to be really fun to watch him now in his first full season as the starter, Adnan. And I think for any young player, Billy, you can relate to this as well. Sometimes you're looking over your shoulder when the offense isn't going well, and you're wondering, you know, am I going to get taken out? Am I going to get to play a whole series back-to-back? Those things. I think for him coming in this year, having that calm and that mentality of, I'm now the leader, I've got to handle the staff, and then bringing in Austin Hedges, just a few years removed, guys, from being in a Cleveland uniform, knows the organization, knows this locker room really well. What a mentor to have. a World Series champion from Texas last year. And I think Bo is really primed for one of those big offensive years from the catching position. I had him in our LB Network radio rankings positionally from a catcher standpoint. He was number 10 for me. And I think he is really primed for a breakout campaign.
I love that. What I'm really going to love is this, some hot takes out of Jensen Lewis. Let's just go ahead and get that hot take factory going. Give me your first hot take.
Yeah, I think the 2024 edition of the Texas Rangers, so meaning who it was last year, this year, I think is the Toronto Blue Jays. And yes, I know it's 3 years in a row of the offense evaporating in October. They can't get out of the first round, but I think the fourth time is probably the charm for them. You get pretty much the entirety of the rotation back, a top 5 bullpen. And guys, it's got to happen with Bo Bichette and Vladdy Jr. Plus, you get the Sage veteran and Justin Turner jumping in here. I think he's the elixir for them from a clubhouse standpoint of getting them across that hurdle of that first initial round of the postseason. I think they're a dangerous team here August, September, and October.
Clearly, you're a big Isaiah Kiner-Falefa guy. Daniel Vogel back in the mix as well. Been an underwhelming Jays offseason, but I like that you're in on it. You think Manoah bounces back? I think that could be a big question mark as well.
Yeah, revenge campaign, right? And as we said, you look at the Texas Rangers in August last year, guys, most of us kind of wrote them off with the injuries, with the losing streak, and then all of a sudden they got hot. To me, from a DNA perspective, it makes sense with that group that I think it's go time. The sense of urgency now is right there because you don't know what the extension might look like, if at all, for a Bo Bichette, a Vladdy Jr. What do the economics look like? You missed out on Ohtani this offseason, but still that positive reinforcement from the front office of, hey, fellas, we're going for it. Sometimes it's not the big names that come in. It's just the right puzzle pieces that put you over the top.
I love that. They're loving you north of the border right now. Garrett Cole won the Cy Young a year ago. Your focus, another Cole, when it comes to the Cy Young this year.
Guys, right in the backyard of the flyover states, right in Kansas City, not only are the Chiefs champions, but they might crown a Cy Young winner. And I'll take him as a dark horse. I'll take Cole Reagans to finish in the top 3 of the American League Cy Young race. Heck, he's got even an outside chance to win it. Guys, if you remember when he came over from the trade for Aroldis Chapman, pickup of about 3 to 4 miles an hour, I believe, in 12 starts. He finished 3rd among qualified starters next to Spencer Strider and Blake Snell in strikeout percentage. We all know that those ancillary numbers are big when it comes to the voting process. Again, he may not be, winning 15, 16 games, but it could look pretty dominant. If Blake Snell can win it on a non-playoff team, I'll take my chances on Cole Reagans this year in 2024.
What was Eduardo Perez's reaction when you said this to him? I don't know if he was on the show with you when you said that, but Eddie's head probably exploded on the radio.
I don't know if he's seen it yet, but as you well know, Adnan, it's going to be one of those mind-blowing moments for sure.
Jensen Lewis always does a great job, of course, on Bally Sports, covering the Tribe, and does a great job at MLB Network Radio with our friends Steve Phillips, Eddie Perez. Good stuff, Jensen. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it, guys. Thanks so much.